Howdy, howdy. What's going on, Wealthy Legacy Journeyers? Welcome back to the Wealthy Legacy Journey, the show where we talk about building wealth on purpose for a purpose. I'm your host, Kendell, and the title of today's episode is Would You Rather Invest Now, Have Wealth Later, or Spend Now and have poverty, be poor later? It's a tougher question than you might think it is to answer. It sounds like you know what you'd pick out of the gate, but then when the rubber hits the road and life comes your way, that decision gets a little bit more difficult and a little bit more complicated. We're going to talk about some really cool things today. We're going to talk about some interesting ways, practical ways that I've applied the 4 steps to success model this week. We're going to talk about some things with some realtor stuff. We're going to talk about some ways that Libby and I were thrifty this week, some awesome, just practical ways to be able to apply some things that is going to be able to help you build wealth now just by saving money in some ways that you might have ended up spending more money, right? We're all about buying low. That's kind of a strong investing principle. Buy as low as we can, add value, sell high, all that kind of good stuff. In the back half, we're going to talk about anxiety. We're going to talk about some of the difficulties and struggles that I actually faced personally this week. We're also going to talk about an interesting farming principle and how we're going to apply it to investing. And we're going to wrap up with another cool piece of content by Myron Golden. It was really good. I've shared some content from Myron Golden this over the past couple of weeks, and I've been loving his stuff. I'm going to share something else with you this week. So let's start at the top. How did I apply the 4 steps to success model this week? Well, it was actually when I mowed my lawn. So I was out there. In case you guys didn't know, right now we're trying to sell our house. I have an acre of land. I do not have a ride-on lawnmower. The only thing that I have is a push lawnmower. The reason is when we first moved in, for the first 2 years that we were here, it was super dry. And it didn't make sense from an ROI perspective to mow my own lawn. The first year we were here, I paid somebody $100 a month, or $100 for every time he mowed. He mowed, like, I think that year 3 times, so it's $300. The next year he bumped his price up to like $150. I think he mowed 4 or 5 times. So you're talking like throughout the lifetime, for the time, the energy, the gas, the maintenance, the mower, all that kind of stuff, to borrow that from him for him to mow my lawn. The first year cost me $300. Second year it probably cost me 750. So we're up to about 1,050 now. Just so you know, a brand new one of these mowers, I think they run about $3,000, plus the time, energy, and effort, because he also weed eated. So I guess I'd have to buy a weed eater too, but weed eated, ZTR, all that kind of stuff, and just took time. This year, though, it's been a really rainy year. We've really been trying to save money. So it made sense to not have the riding lawnmower, I think, looking back. But don't have a riding lawnmower, trying to save money. All I have is this push mower. So now I'm push mowing an acre. I've done it twice. It's a mental battle. But I got through it with the 4 steps to success model. I didn't even think about when I looked at the whole big goal. Yes, the whole big goal is, how do I push mow an entire acre of land? It's a lot to mow. So I broke that acre of land down into about 6 different pieces mentally, just kind of where the fence divided it up. And then I said, okay, in order to finish the whole yard, what are the steps it's going to take to get from, where I'm at, not mowed, to where I want to go, whole yard being mowed? Well, I'm going to break down my whole yard into 6 major sections. And then from there, I'm just going to take it a row at a time as I mow. And so then basically, as I went forward and I mowed, I ended up making these passes. Actually, if I think about it, I think I broke it up into 8 different sections. I had 2 sections here, 3 in the back, 3 in the front. So I really had about 8 sections that I was mowing. And then I just went for it. And I was just going one pass after the next. That was the next right step. The next right step was to get to the end of the row, turn around, push to the next row. And it may sound funny that I mentioned mowing in the sense of in a show where we talk about building wealth, but that really is how we build wealth. We take this big task, this big elephant, we break it down into simple steps that we can apply into our lives, just one step after the next. Don't get overwhelmed by having to mow the whole acre. Don't get overwhelmed by having to figure out how to build wealth, how to be an investor, all these different things. You just have to take the next right step. One thing I want to challenge you guys in your income, in your finances, in order to take the next right step, is to use your income to meet only your basic needs and use the rest of your income to right your ship, right? Pay off debt, build savings as a buffer, and then start buying assets, right? using a small percentage of your capital that you earn from the investments as fund money. Don't use a percentage of the capital that you have from your income for fund money, because that's how you end up staying where you're at right now. But if you can take all of the extra income that you have, you didn't have to spend on the core necessities, real necessities of life, you'll be able to invest those into assets. So now your money is making money for you. Active investment income is trading your time and money for money. That is where we get capital gains. That's where you get some of your most aggressive returns over time. It's interesting, actually, some people that we know, they just sold their house, they bought a new one, and right now they're going on multiple vacations. But you know what's crazy about that is at some point that's going to stop, because they have X amount of money. It's an hourglass, and you're going to run out of money. But when you're going on all those vacations, you take this normal life where there was a small pinhole that was letting the sand come through, and people see all this extra sand in the top, and they go, "Oh, I can finally breathe." So what do? They take that hole and they just expand it. So instead of having this little pinhole where sand's coming through, they open it up like this to where all of this sand is just gushing from the top out through the bottom of the hourglass to be lost forever, versus saying, "Hey, you know what? I have a lot of extra sand here. Let me take some of this sand off of the top. Instead of increasing my expenses, put it into a separate bucket for building wealth through accumulating assets, buying low, selling high, building passive assets that are going to create passive gains, passive income to increase the net worth." That is how we build wealth. So it was interesting as I was thinking about, what is our family plans for this summer? What are we doing? As you guys know, we're not going to the beach this year, which was a huge disappointment. We really enjoy going to the beach. I think we've done it for like the past 2 years. We love it. We're not going to the beach this year because we are getting our finances right. Even though the problem is that I built up to over 6 figures twice. But as I built, I just let the little hole of that hourglass get bigger and bigger every time until I was consuming money at the same rate. See, because if I have 100, let's say I started off and I'm making $1,000 a month, but then I spend $1,000 a month to live, then I am using 100% of my income. Now, let's say that I bump it up and now all of a sudden I'm making $10,000 a month. That's amazing if I'm still only spending $1,000 a month and I have $9,000 a month that I'm setting aside to build wealth. But the problem is what happens whenever you increase your lifestyle to meet your income to where now you're spending that $10,000 a month that you're earning every month. It doesn't matter how much money you earn, you're still in that case spending 100% of your income. That's never going to create the win that you're looking for. Another struggle that I was going through this week is with the 2 acres in Palestine. I talked about this a lot in the Double Dare Your Money update for 10,000 or 100,000, which I understand that a lot of y'all can't get yet because we haven't launched Double Dare Your Money. But once we do launch Double Dare Your Money, and once you get 10,000 or 100,000, you're going to be able to see that update. But at the time of this recording, at least, Double Dare Your Money has not been launched yet. But I was thinking, how do I get my real estate agent to care more about selling my listing if their commission percentage is so low based on the sales price, right? On a $40,000 lot, if at 3%, they're going to get a $1,200 commission. I just don't think there's a lot of motivation there. So I started thinking, should I get my realtor's license because I'm always going to care about this deal more than they're going to care about this deal? Or what if I trained up somebody else to be my agent? Or should I just buy a drone, take my own, should I do the whole process start to finish from the agent? I'm the photographer and the drone guy and everything like that. And I was really thinking about it. I watched this great video by Dan Martell. I'm not going to link to it in the description on this video. I'm actually going to talk about it more next week because it was a really big topic. It was so good. I'm going to unpack it in a lot more detail next week. I just didn't have enough time in today's episode because I was honestly geeking out over what he was talking. But I hit a complexity ceiling in my business, the same complexity business that has shut me down twice before, which is why I wanted to dedicate enough time to really be able to dig into what is that complexity ceiling that's broken me down twice that I can already feel myself bumping up against trying to shut me down for the third time. So I'm going to talk about that more on next week's episode. Also, another thing that we found this week, Libby and I, is that it pays to be thrifty. Maybe you guys do this, maybe you didn't. But you see, I was buying all the books and supplies that I was going to need for The American Dream or Die, the book that I am writing right now, as you guys know about, talked about it, something that we're doing in the background, along with upgrading all of the podcasting equipment. So as you guys might be able to see today, there's a little bit more light. I'm actually using the light that I already had before. It was tough. Amazon is so great because I can order something and I can have it to my house the next day or the day after. I love it. Don't you love that too? I imagine that you do. The difficult thing about Amazon is that you're paying brand new prices on everything that you buy. Let me give you an example. The microphone that I bought, brand new, $280. I bought that same microphone on eBay for $150. Crazy, right? The camera that I was going to buy for the show was a little upgrade, $45 camera. It's going to kind of change the position, be able to look more upright instead of looking down at my computer, and it's going to be a little bit better quality. It was $50, something like that on Amazon. I got it for $25 on eBay, and we also got a whole bunch of books half off. I want to encourage you guys, as you're shopping, as you're buying things you already have to buy. And by the way, every single one of those things that I bought was an asset, was an investment to build. So the books that I bought, they're investments. I'm going to turn those books into assets by recording the book reports and putting those out, those videos, those are assets. I'm also using the information from those books to write my own book, another asset. That's probably going to be the first funnel of the Wealthy Legacy journey. So I'm really excited about both of those. The podcast equipment is just to improve the quality of our show. So I've already got this little mic stand over here. And so you're going to see me next week with an upgraded microphone. It's going to really improve the quality of the audio. And another thing that you're going to see next week is that, like I said, the upgraded camera. And I'm going to be wearing headphones from now on so I can hear the quality and all this kind of great stuff. But the total on Amazon was going to be $654.36. But once I included buying things from eBay, I lowered that total purchase down to $429.53. That is a 44% savings. I got a 44% discount because I stopped, slowed down, did some shopping, looked around, and I shouldn't even take credit for that. I shouldn't say I did this. Libby did a lot of that. Libby is the thrifty person of our family. I am learning how to follow her lead in thriftiness, but it has saved us a bundle and it helps so much. So find ways to be thrifty. We ended up spending $157.88 on Amazon and $271.55 on eBay. Buying literally the microphone I bought brand new in the box. They just never used it. And I'm getting that product now brand new at almost half off. It's crazy. I want to stop right quick, though, and talk about as you're trying to figure out your goals and how to be thrifty. And then once you're thrifty and now you're saving some money, where do you put that extra money? Well, down in the description of the video, we have our link to the Wealth Health Checkup that shows you, okay, now that you have all this income coming in, how do you allocate those funds? Where do you allocate those funds to? And it takes you through an awesome 3-step process to help you build wealth. Step number 1, creating positive cash flow. Step number 2, creating positive net worth. And step number 3, creating positive buying power. Make sure you go check out, the link is to a video. I go into a lot more depth and detail on how to use the Wealth Health Checkup and how you can apply it to your own life. Also in the description is the link to the Wealthy Legacy Journey resource page, where I give links to all sorts of awesome content, including what I just talked about in Dan Martell's video that I got for how to work with the agent that we're going to be talking about next week. That one's actually already going to be in the Wealthy Legacy Journey resource page if you want to get a head start and jump in front of everybody else to get that video. There's also going to be lots of other helpful tools and resources I personally learned from, awesome life-changing principles and quotes, and all sorts of other really great things. So make sure that you take a moment, go to the description, watch the Wealthy Legacy Journey Wealth Health Checkup video and apply that, use that in your life, and also check out the Wealthy Legacy Journey resource page. But back to today's episode, there's this great quote that I got this week from my quiet time. Nicky Gumbel in Bible in a Year, he had in this study that I did this one day this past week, he said, you reap what you sow, you reap later than you sow, and you reap more than you sow. And I thought this is such a powerful pattern for farming, but it's also a powerful pattern for ministry and investing and value adding and all these different things. And everything that you can think of that you sow works in this way, both in a positive and a negative direction. This is why people in situations can do what we call spiral out of control. Because if you are sowing negativity or bad circumstances, you're going to reap that back. But you reap that, it's not immediate because you reap later than you sow, but you also end up reaping more than you sow. So if you sow bad, you're going to reap more bad than you even sowed. If you reap good, you're going to reap more good than you sowed. So if you sow capital into the marketplace around you and you take your time and you sow it into learning on channels just like this, the Wealthy Legacy Journey, I do it too, learning from other people, you are going to reap building wealth, building amazing things, being able to add lots and lots of value to the world around you, which is uber exciting, at least to me, and I hope it is to you. You see, this week, another great thing that I got was this past Sunday, my pastor, Gary Hutchison, he had this sermon titled, Jesus Delivers from Anxiety. He talked a lot about Matthew chapter 6, verses 25 through 34, and Psalms 23. I'm going to put a link in the description to that sermon. It was outstanding. If you struggle with anxiety in any way, even if you do not believe in Jesus, even if you don't believe in God, I would encourage you to watch that sermon and just get some perspective on some different things that you can apply to your life. But some of the quotes that he said that I wrote down in my notes when I was at church, taking notes from the sermon that I want to share with you guys is anxiety and fear are a result of feeling vulnerable and not believing that you have the resources available to protect you or provide for you. You are not rooted. Anxiety shows that you are too close to the world and too far from God. Today, you have today's troubles and today's mercies. Don't pull tomorrow's troubles into today. It's a bad habit. I do it. Libby does it. My wife. We talk about this. We've been encouraging each other this week to not pull tomorrow, next week, next month into today, but live today in today. Gratitude is one of the key things that can drown out anxiety. And lastly, goodness and mercy are the two sheepdogs that help to correct our path. As we being the sheep, that's the two that God gives us goodness and mercy in our lives. So make sure you check out the description. In an honesty moment, though, I had a struggle week. And so I'm going to share some stuff with you. And I'm also going to read you one of my Dear God letters. And as you guys know, I don't share most of my Dear God letters, but I do want to share the struggle because I want to be able to reflect back. I want y'all to be able to reflect back and see that I was truly going through the struggle myself once I reached the mountaintop that I know I'm going to reach. But I had a struggle week. I love the Wealthy Legacy Journey, but I feel so dissatisfied with my job. In fact, I was talking to Libby about this, and she was like, you need to share this with your audience. It's like, yeah, that's great. So I started jotting down these notes. And I realized, I can do it, but I'm not passionate about it. I believe that this path that I'm on is going to get me to freedom, but I'm struggling to see how I'm going to be able to hold on long enough while we build wealth with a super tight budget where there is no fun. Right? We got some fun money out of that one investment deal that we did back in April, which was, about a month and a half ago now. We're trying to spend that money as slowly as possible, though, because it was $1,000. And anybody who knows anything about life knows how fast you can go through $1,000. I feel like I, quote unquote, deserve nicer things because of how hard I work. But I'm forcing myself to say no now so I can say yes later. It goes back to the title of today's episode. It's me asking myself that would you rather question. Would I rather invest now and be wealthy later, or spend now because I deserve it but be poor later? Because I never built anything beyond just my active income, trading my time for money. So then I feel busy my entire life, like I'm never getting ahead because I'm trading one of the most limited resources in the entire universe of time for one of the most unlimited resources, which is money. I should flip that on its head and say I should trade one of the most unlimited resources of time because I can get lots and lots of money by taking the right steps and trade that for getting more time back since that's so limited. I should be looking, how can I in my life trade more unlimited resources for more limited resources instead of the other way around? Most people get stuck trading the most limited resources for the most unlimited resources. So anyways, but it was a struggle because in this moment, I felt like I deserved nicer in my life. And it was interesting because we pull up the HEB. It's a grocery store near our house. I had the 3 kids with me in the back of the minivan. Libby ran in to grab some groceries right quick. We were just making it was like a quick little meal. Instead of eating out, we got our eating out food at the grocery store. Well, parked right in front of me when I parked was this really nice looking Dodge Charger. I'm not really even a Dodge Charger guy. I really like sports cars. I'd love to drive something a little bit more fun and cool and enjoyable than the Ford Fiesta that I have. But I'm so grateful for the car that I have right now. That gets me from A to B. But I had to remind myself that their cash flow pattern is probably all messed up because 99% of people are. They had a Mansfield, it's just a school district ISD sticker in their car, and I was like, you know what? Like, no, I'm not judging them, but just in all reality, they're living off of a teacher's salary, most likely, driving this really nice car. They're probably in payments. They're probably stuck in debt, and inside of those payments, they're actually building other people's wealth. They're building Dodge's wealth by buying Dodge's car. They're building the financing person's wealth because they're now making monthly payments to them with interest. For me, it was hard though, because it's like, I really want to go to the beach. I really want a nice car or a nice truck. And it's been very mentally difficult to think about, like, I'm planning to spend $5,000 to $10,000 at this next tax sale, but I'm not going to spend $3,000 to $4,000 on a beach vacation. Because right now I've taken money from my active income and I am going to use that to purchase assets. And I keep telling myself, like, Kendell, your fund money has to come from investment profits. Your fund money has to come from investment profits. And one day it's going to be easy to do because I'm going to have those investment profits coming in so regularly that I'm not even going to have to think about it. I'm just going to have that money coming. But right now, it's not the case. But I have to stay disciplined. You have to stay disciplined. Let me read this Dear God letter to you guys. Dear God, this is May 20th, 2024. This morning, Libby and I woke up to a money fight. The budget isn't working again, and she popped from the pressure. I've asked her to share with me the budgeting stuff, and I've probably been the one who damaged that bridge in the past as well. Now I stay here, KB is crying to get up, but I praise you, Lord. The girls are awake, but playing peacefully. We also got a text from our listing agent this morning that we probably are priced too high and we need to adjust on the house. Ouch. Anything less than $253,000 puts us out of pocket almost for sure. With the trailer and the setup, the fifth wheel trailer and the setup that we're getting. Right now, we're at $275,000. This doesn't feel good. Then, out of nowhere, Libby got very upset about the purchases for the show, the books, and the podcast gear. I suppose for her, it was out of nowhere, but for me, it wasn't I suppose for her, it wasn't out of nowhere for getting upset. But for me, it was a big surprise. I see investments to move us forward inside of these books and the podcast gear. I see them as investments that are going to move us forward. She sees expenditures on things that don't help us to survive right now. How can I blame her? How could I be upset or disappointed? She obviously has a fear of poverty, and that fear obviously stems from income roller coaster that I've put us through. I had to own up to that. That was tough. I'm trying so hard to build something big and powerful for our family, but this journey is grueling. The hardest part, now I'm working a job that's not very enjoyable. On top of that, I'm struggling to pay my bills. There's nowhere else to cut to increase the cash flow. I feel trapped by the pain, struggle, and difficulty of the season that we're in. I've done this to myself, and I feel unworthy to ask, but you are my king. You are my Abba. You are provider. So please, please, please help us. Please bring huge breakthrough on the seeds we planted. Please make this season of starting and place it behind us as the season of dating you set behind us. I can see that both of us are struggling to hold on. It's been a long 5+ years since we started all of this with some amazing highs, but also absolutely devastating and crushing lows. I just want to do work that I'm deeply passionate about while not struggling to make ends meet and maybe even build some wealth along the way. Is that possible? So many in the journey, a few steps ahead of me tell me that it absolutely is, but it's so hard to see the forest through the trees right now. We're out at sea in a storm and in desperate need of a lighthouse. Please continue to point us in the right direction. The Lord does not give me a spirit of timidity, but of power, love, and discipline. 2 Timothy 1:7. Blessed is the person who does not walk in the counsel of the wicked, nor stand in the path of sinners, nor sit in the seat of scoffers, but his delight is in the law of the Lord, and on his law he meditates day and night. He will be like a tree planted by streams of water, which yields its fruit in its seasons, and its leaf does not wither. And in whatever he does, he prospers. Psalms 1:1-3. These are the truths I will stand on and cling to. Please help, Lord. If you don't pull through for us, we won't make it. I'll publicly say right here as an Ebenezer, reminder to myself, my future generations, and others watching, that the victory here is not mine. This victory is the Lord's. Praise the Lord. Thank the Lord for the things. I thank you, Lord, for the things that you're doing that I cannot yet see. Love, Kendell. I'm going to wrap up today's episode. That puts it at the 25-minute mark, so we're run out of time. There's this awesome video, though, by Myron Golden. It's why success isn't blocking you, but you're blocking it. He breaks down Judges 6 through 9 in a couple different ways to help solidify and reinforce the points that he's making. It's so good. I'm going to put a link in the description. Man, I wish I could share this stuff with you, but there's a couple things fighting us, a couple things attacking us. One of the things he said that was so good, he said, God doesn't call the qualified, but he qualifies the called. If God's called you for a purpose, don't hide from that purpose because you're afraid it might not work. And the very end of this video, he said, I know it's not easy. I know it's scary. Do it anyways. Why? Because you were created for it. You were called for it. And now you're going to be challenged by it. I literally had I think 15, 20 quotes looking at it really quick from that video, but I just don't have time to share it in this episode. But it was so amazing. Make sure you go check out that video by Myron Golden. Be encouraged this week. And I would just challenge you. Answer that would you rather question for yourself. Would you rather sacrifice and invest now so you can build wealth and be wealthy later? Or would you rather have it all now, spend it all now, but end up with poverty long term? You can only have one or the other. You don't get both. So make that choice. Let's pray. Lord, I pray that you just give us the ability to make the hard choice, to do the hard thing in order to have the long-term fruits. I pray that you would give us the wisdom on, we are given seeds every single week. How can we set some of those seeds aside to plant those in the ground, to cultivate those, to care for those so they can grow up and produce their own fruit? Lord, would you help us to be wise stewards of our time and our resources so that we can grow something amazing and have the freedom to do exactly what it is that you've called each and every one of us to do, to impact the world around us in an amazing way for your glory and your honor. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Guys, it's important that we close every single episode with our identity mantra because the spoken word is so powerful. I'm going to say it first. You've really got to say this after me in order to reinforce it. I explore the unknown. I conquer new frontiers. My journey is powerful and my wake is a wealthy legacy. So powerful, guys. I really hope that you're saying that with me. Remember, guys, wealthy is the ability to cover your monthly expense without having to lift a finger. That's it. That's what we're building towards. That's the wealth point that we're looking at. How can we invest now, make sacrifices now, so one day we can have monthly expenses covered without having to lift a finger? That day is going to be amazing. And legacy is leaving a long-lasting impact on others who come after you as they receive the fruit of your labor, whether that fruit be good or bad. But remember, an apple tree bears an apple seed bears an apple tree, which gives off apple fruit. So good seeds is the thing that's going to grow good trees and bear good fruit. And bad seeds are going to grow bad trees, which bear bad fruit. With that said, guys, please make sure that you like this video and subscribe if you feel like it helped. It really helps the algorithm so more people can see the show and consume some of this awesome content with you guys. There's also the links in the description to the Wealthy Legacy Journey resource doc and the Wealth Health Checkup. Please make sure that you check those out. With all that said, guys, it's been awesome hanging out with y'all, and this has been another episode dedicated to you and your own wealthy legacy journey. Go out there and simply take the next right step today, and I can't wait to hear your own personal success story. Let me know, and I'll see you guys on the next episode. Bye, everybody.